Once again, it's on. You know what time it is. It's time to play some toss. Welcome everyone to episode 143 of Toss the Tristain on Sports Show. It is your main man, T-Squared, Tristain Thomas. It has been a roller coaster of emotions if you're a Green Bay Packers fan, follower. That's what we're here to discuss today on this episode to kind of make things make sense. It is a Packers offseason of change here on episode 143 of Toss. If you have been following anything Toss Nation Media related, you know that we've been making appearances on our good friend Evan Wittalison's podcast, Talking Sports with Evan, which you can listen everywhere you get your podcast. Watch as well on X, on Facebook. And we discussed kind of what we thought would happen with the Packers off season. And we knew that this roster was going to go through some major changes. You got the salary cap situation. You got writing on the wall situations, which we will get to in just a moment. Some shocks in there. Shocks for other people. Not really shocks for myself. But it doesn't mean that some of the people that you had to part with, it doesn't mean that the move isn't painful. So let's get into it. Who is going? Off top, and I think this was the move that hurt so many people. But if you've been paying attention, you knew that it was a large possibility this would end up happening anyway. Running back Aaron Jones, who finished his Packers career with 5 straight 100-yard rushing games, which is a career high for him. That includes 2 in the playoffs. His last one should have sealed a playoff win for the Packers, but that was not to be against the Niners. We all know what happened there. He ends up signing with the Vikings the next day after being released. Yuck. His release does, in fact, save the Packers $5 million, actually $5.2 million against the cap. So, yes, it does save you money. Yes, it does free up some money to sign free agents, which we'll get to in a little bit. Sign your upcoming draft picks. Build your team. I always felt that there may be a small chance Aaron Jones could come back. The way he finished the season, how important he's been to this offense, to this team, as far as his play on the field, his leadership in the locker room, and just the great human being he is off the field. You take all that into account. You take into account that he's taken a pay cut, and he took a pay cut to play last season. One of the higher paid backs in the league, he took a pay cut from that. And he produced. Now, he did have his injuries. Yes, he missed games. But to have him down the stretch was so vital. To have him in the playoffs healthy, fresh, was so vital. And he proved once again how important, how special of a back he truly is. I said it before and I say it again. Everybody loves to talk about Christian McCaffrey and Derrick Henry, and rightfully so. But you need to talk about Aaron Jones in that same class as being one of the top backs in the league. He can catch it. He can run it. He can block. Like I said, provides veteran leadership. And is a great human being off the field. So you felt that maybe they could come to some sort of understanding. Maybe they could come to a number where both parties will feel comfortable and he could come back. He'd be back in the fold and you will have the heart of this offense there for you. But that wasn't the case. Packers came back with a number that apparently Aaron Jones and his camp did not like. He decided to walk away from it. And like I said, it doesn't mean that it doesn't hurt. The NFL is a business. This is the business side of things in the offseason. These two parting ways, it hurts. For all the reasons that I mentioned before. What he does on the field, what he does in the locker room, what he does off the field. Great, great player. But it makes you question something because he did sign with the Vikings. And he signed for a 1-year deal worth $7 million. If he signed with the Vikings, your division rival, for $7 million just for 1 season, 1 year, what kind of a number were the Packers expecting Aaron Jones to drop to as far as a pay cut? What more happened? Aaron Jones came out on X, a.k.a. Twitter. I still call it Twitter these days, but whatever, I digress. And said there's 3 sides to every story. Now, I've been trying to dig and trying to figure out, hey, what exactly happened? I wish I could sit here and give you guys a scoop, but I have nothing. Still trying to piece it together. What exactly happened that made these talks break down? What kind of a number did the Packers come to Aaron Jones with? It had to be less than the $7 million that he got from the Vikings. And if it wasn't less than the $7 million, what rubbed him the wrong way to the point where he broke talks off? And the Packers concurred with that. And these two split ways. Something more happened within that situation. That much I am sure of. What exactly happened? Just don't know. So now you're not going to have Aaron Jones. He's gone. He's a Viking. Yuck. Good luck. You don't have Kirk Cousins anymore. Not that having him in the fold was doing much of anything for the Vikings anyway, but I digress. David Bakhtiari, a move that most people saw happening, but it doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. Your stalwart left tackle, gone now. Frees up $20 million. Saves you $20.98 to be exact, $1 million against the cap. Ever since that knee injury, he has just not been the same. Yes, he's seen game action, but just not enough of it, and more surgeries and more surgeries and more surgeries. Just wasn't able to get back healthy and stay on the field. I hope he is able to heal up and get healthy and continue his career if that is what he wants to do and produces. But again, it's a move that still hurts, but it's a move that's the writing's been on the wall. He has a big number. He's been injured the better part of the last 2 years. Multiple surgeries on that knee. Just can't get healthy. For whatever it is, it just can't quite get it back to where it used to be. And it's really unfortunate. Business-wise, you have to understand, you can't have somebody with that big of a number with zero availability, because what is an athlete's best ability? Availability. If you have none, then you really can't justify that check now, can you? And the team is going to find a way to put a halt on that. Like I said, it's the business side of the NFL. You have to be able to run your business efficiently, smartly. Despite how tough of a decision it is, despite what this player may have done for your team, for what they do for the community, it's the business side. And sometimes it's cold and cruel, but sometimes it's a tough decision that needs to be made in business, and they're made every single day. Bakhtiari is one of them. Like I said, I just hope he heals up for quality of life, first of all. But second of all, if it is his desire to continue his career, hope he heals up and then goes and he produces and continues to produce. Because quiet as kept, he was producing at a Hall of Fame level. Let's be real about it. Another move that was, you saw the writing on the wall with, Devondre Campbell, another guy, the big number, and his availability slipped. And because of various injuries, his performance slipped. And again, once that performance slips and that availability slips, the team starts raising an eyebrow saying, well, we can't really justify paying you this number if you have zero availability and those injuries that you have incurred are now hampering your performance. Sucks, but that's the reality of it. He's been designated as a June 1st release or an after June 1st release. So you won't know the cap savings until then. You won't have any cap savings until then, but he is being released. Again, hope he's able to stay healthy and go produce elsewhere. Another guy who you were kind of iffy. Is he coming back? Won't he come back? But he's in this section of who's going. It's Darnell Savage. He ended up signing a 3-year deal with the Jacksonville Jaguars. No longer roaming the backfields. And for some people, they're celebrating about that. He really wasn't that good. He didn't live up to his potential. And I get it. You know, he didn't really make the big splash like everybody was thinking that he was going to make, but I thought that he was pretty solid. The thing that I'm really, truly bummed out about is the fact that he has a particular set of skills I believe would have translated extremely well with Hafley's defense, the new defensive coordinator, where the focus is on coverage. If you go back and you look at his tape, you look at Louisville tape, and you look at the things he was able to do with a coverage-centered defense, I think he could have done really well in it. But he goes to Jacksonville. You know, he got his bag. You know, you can't do anything but be happy for him. But now you got to spend one of those premium. Not that you probably weren't. If you're the Packers, you were more than likely going to spend one of those premium draft picks on a safety. But now you're absolutely going to have to. 100% going to have to. And you have to get it right. So Darnell Savage gone via free agency. Devondre Campbell, post June 1st release. David Bakhtiari, writing was on the wall with that one. Just no availability. His knee just couldn't get healthy. Can't justify that big number of his. And with Aaron Jones, they wanted him to take a further pay cut. Didn't like the numbers. I believe something more happened there. I don't have any proof yet, but I'm going to keep digging. But those moves hurt. But they're the tough decisions that you have to make in order to run your team efficiently. So who's staying? Now, when you talk about the free agency period, you expect Green Bay to kind of sit back, wait for the first few waves to go through, then try to find value with some of these free agents that are left over, guys they don't have to go and reach and overpay. They can get them on a good 1-2 year deal and take it from there. It's kind of been the zone that they've been in. But then you have those years where they make splashes and you didn't expect them to, and they spend money that you didn't expect them to. Most recently comes to mind, talk about Zadarius and Preston Smith. When they signed both of those guys in the same offseason, nobody expected that. No one expected that. And those two guys really changed the defense for the better. Well, it's one of those years where the Packers went in that first wave of free agency and spent, and nobody was expecting it. Josh Jacobs, former Las Vegas Raiders running back, he's a Packer now. Made official, signed his contract. 4-year deal worth $48 million for the 26-year-old running back. It's really a 1-year guaranteed 3-option year contract. Very smartly done by Goot and Ball and company. 1 guaranteed year, then 3 options. Hey, let's see how you pan out. We want you here, but you got to prove it. This is a guy who led the league in rushing a couple seasons ago. Raiders didn't really have a premium on the run. Plus, they had another back behind him that they really liked more so than him. It's Green Bay's game. And for a while there, after they signed Jacobs, I believe that the Packers had the best backfield in all of the NFL. Josh Jacobs, Aaron Jones, new thunder and lightning. But that was not to be. But you get a good back. He's in his prime, like I said, 26 years old. Can run it, can catch it. Big, powerful back. Breakaway speed. Feel that it's a really good signing for the Green Bay Packers. The safety market. You've seen safety after safety after safety get released. Packers in need of a safety. And boy, did they get one. Xavier McKinney, formerly of the New York Giants. 4 years, $67 million for one of the best coverage safeties in all of the NFL. I reiterate, McKinney is one of the best coverage safeties in all of the NFL. And again, with Hafley's defense being focused on ball skills and coverage, this is a perfect fit. A perfect fit for the Green Bay Packers. I'm really excited about it. I like the way he plays. And misses a few tackles, a few too many tackles for me. But when you're thinking about coverage, and hopefully they shore that up, but when you're thinking about coverage, you think about his skills in that area, in that arena, it's exciting. It's very exciting. 2 big-time signings that I did not expect them to make within the free agency market. But they weren't done. 2 guys who I thought the writing was on the wall that they were going to be out. Well, they're back in. Let's start off with the all-pro returner and slot corner, Keshawn Nixon. He signed a 3-year, $18 million deal to come back to the Green Bay Packers. Huge. He gave some good play in that slot corner spot. We all know his prowess in the return game. One of the, if not the best returner in NFL currently. He's made all-pro in that position. Pro Bowler. I thought for sure that there was no way Green Bay was going to be able to re-sign him. I thought 100% he was gone. I thought, no way. No way they're going to be able to re-sign him. And it's going to hurt because now you have to start at square one to see, okay, who's able to return, who's able to have sure hands, make smart decisions, but yet still be able to give you a little bit of juice and flip field position for you. Make you have shorter fields so you can go out there and score a little bit easier. Now you don't have to worry about all of that because Nixon is coming back. That's somebody I did not expect them to re-sign. Another guy I did not expect them to re-sign. I thought for sure he was going to be gone. A.J. Dillon, the quad father himself, Quadzilla, whatever you want to call him or quad him, he's coming back. Now, he's coming back on a weirder deal that I had to go and look at and see what the hell is this. It's a 4-year qualifying contract. Basically, it's a base salary of $1.125 million for him. He can max it out at $2.575 million, but only that $1.125 million counts against the cap for A.J. Dillon. Smart deal. You're not really truly locked into a long-term big money contract with him. But now you have Thunder and Thunder. You got Jacobs. You got Dillon. Now, Dillon last year left a lot to be desired. Now, although he had been very durable, he did miss the last couple of weeks with that broken thumb, and he missed the playoffs with that stinger. But before that, I mean, the only time he missed was when he had COVID back in 2020. He's been very durable. He's been there. But last season, he just left a lot to be desired. Averaged a career low in yards per carry. I believe it was like 3.4. Just didn't have that same juice that we saw him have when he was the bell cow taking over for Aaron Jones, who missed games. Just didn't have that same juice this season for whatever reason. You hope he can refine that because you got two big, powerful backs. And when it gets late in the season, especially in Green Bay, you don't want to be trying to hit and tackle those guys coming through those holes. So now you got Thunder and Thunder. But my question now is, when do they take another running back? This is something Evan and I also spoke about. They're probably going to have to take another running back. And this is a guy who's going to have to probably play a little bit more than you want him to. Because how healthy is Jacobs going to be? And I know they've got Wilson back there and they really like him, but I'm really iffy on him still. Has not shown me enough. He's shown me all we could handle in preseason, but in actual game action, I haven't seen enough out of him. Do they give him the rock a little bit more this season? Get him a little bit lathered up. But you got to think, maybe Jacobs missed some games. He has missed games before. Dillon, like I said, for the most part, has been durable. But he's not exactly the game breaker type running back. He's a power back. You can get some good, tough yards. He can score in the goal line for you when they're not trying to pull jet sweeps, but I digress. This draft is going to be really interesting. Because while they have needs, you just don't know which needs they're going to address and how they're going to use their draft capital. Do they feel they need another wide receiver in there? Are they done in free agency as far as going to get those types of players? Do they feel they need more safeties? I think that's going to be a point of emphasis. They're definitely going to need offensive line help. 100% they're going to. Runyon's not there. Bakhtiari is now gone. You're definitely going to need help in that area. That's going to be a point of emphasis. I think safety is going to be a point of emphasis. But where do you select running back? Where do you see, do you get another wide receiver? I mean, it's just going to be very, very, very intriguing. But this offseason is not quite finished. Remember, you still have Jordan Love to eventually pay. And they were talking about a long-term big money contract extension for him. Does that get done this offseason? And as we mentioned, you have the draft. You got draft picks that you got to go and take care of and be able to sign. And yes, the salary cap is rising because of new revenue coming in. But you have to be smart, and that's what Goot is doing. He's spending. For people out there who are saying, oh, he don't spend. He's spending, and he has spent before. But he's doing it smartly and at points of emphasis. They felt they needed another upgrade at running back. They felt that they needed safety help. Definitely needed that. He's addressed those needs. Now, I think his mind shifts to the draft, but still keeping an eye on free agency. I still think they're kind of lying in the weeds, seeing what type of value they can get on guys, as they typically do. But Goot has spent, and he's also made some tough decisions. And these decisions are not going to be popular with everyone. I've seen all the vitriol about letting Aaron Jones go and how they felt that the Packers mistreated him. And the same thing with Bakhtiari. The same thing with Devondre Campbell. And while I agree the business side of the NFL can just be cold-hearted and suck sometimes, in this instance, if you feel shocked by these moves, you really haven't been paying attention. The players that he let go, the tough decisions that had to be made, the writing was on the wall with those. Now, you still had an opportunity with Aaron Jones, but I'm still under the belief that they came back with a number that was just not sufficient, and it had to be lower than the Vikings offer, because if it was not, then there were some real problems between the front office of the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Jones. But tough decisions are being made. Not everything's going to be popular. But it's all part of the process and part of the goal of building a consistent championship contender and eventually a championship ball club. The Packers have more than any other football team in the NFL. You have to think they know what they're doing.